Good afternoon, listeners. An average afternoon at that. Sometimes I cautiously wish something exciting would happen. Although we have had an exciting last few weeks, what with the snowstorm and the vending machine and whatnot. But today just seems so unassuming and calm. It's just a tad unnerving. But aside from that, it really is a lovely day. Despite being a bit boring, it's a nice day for a walk or just existing in general. I'm glad we're finally seeing some warmer weather. After everything last week, this news week feels incredibly slow. Surely something will happen that I can report on around here. Any minute now. Okay, that's enough of that. I am quite bored. If there isn't going to be any news, then perhaps I'll create news myself. The news is that there is no news. Nothing has happened all week. It has seemed as though time was completely standing still. I did see an interesting newspaper article at some point this week. It was a real-life clipping of a newspaper, not the digital kind, a real newspaper, but it was strange. It certainly wasn't from here, and it wasn't about here either. It was a paper from Memphis, talking about how its next largest city to the west had been destroyed. That's odd, because we're pretty much directly west of Memphis, are we not? And yet, here we stand. So strange. I think it must have been some sort of hoax or work of fiction. Imagine how ridiculous of an event that would be, the entire city. Sounds to me like someone very powerful would have to ignore some very important rules in order for something like that to happen. But don't worry, Little Rock. As long as I am your radio host, we are all very safe, I am sure. How silly would it be to create an entire fake newspaper with such information attached to it anyway? Pointless. Anyhow, despite the ongoing newslessness, everyone seems to be going about their days as normal. I can't see how, given that this is the most boring, tiresome week I've had in ages, but I suppose the show must go on, regardless of the circumstances. Finally, something of interest. It's a text from Elizabeth. She says, "Victor, you simply won't believe it. I think I've won the lottery." What on earth does she mean? Let me just reply to her here. What on earth do you mean? Dear God, she texts quickly. "Victor, I did it," she says. "I won the $1 million lottery. I'm rich beyond all belief." Why, that's lovely. What exciting news from our dear friend and weather specialist today. I do hope she was all right with me reading those texts aloud on air. Let me give her a call. While I do that, allow me to take you all to the traffic report. Listeners, it's not every day someone wins the lottery. What would you do with $1 million? I can think of quite a few things I could do with that sort of money. But since I don't have that sort of money, it's best not to dwell on that type of thing. Hello? Is that so? That is incredible. Mind if I share on air? Thank you for the information. That was Erica on the 5th floor. She's been contacted by a legitimate lawyer about collecting an inheritance she previously knew nothing about. She's ridiculously rich now. What a strange and interesting turn of events. I suppose 2 instances of staff suddenly becoming very wealthy could count as news. Wait, hold on. I'm getting a report of some real news. Finally! It appears that the basement of the library is gone. It's just gone, library staff says. The elevators no longer have basement buttons at all, and there seems to be no sign of the existence of the basement. That includes the owl. The smiling owl who lives down there and takes maskless patrons to become eternal bookkeepers in the basement surely cannot be thrilled with this new development. Security is sending a few members of their team to go searching for the basement. While we wait on an update to that story, let me take you all to a pre-recorded advertisement. Do you enjoy hearing disembodied voices tell you things that you can't possibly imagine? Do you need a little entertainment and spice in your life? Did you befriend ghosts as a child? Do you enjoy books but find reading to be a hassle? We have just the thing for you. Check out the main library's amazing collection of audiobooks. Books on CD and in digital format can keep you entertained for hours. This advertisement has been brought to you by Disembodied Voices Incorporated, the largest employer of bodiless voices since 1902. Well, listeners, while I was off air, John burst, quite rudely I might add, into my studio to give me some most interesting news. He's become quite rich. One of the coins in his coin collection and one of the baseball cards in his collection turned out to be worth several $1 million. Rather than keep them in his rather boring collections, he opted to sell, and he's now more financially comfortable than he's ever known. Intriguing. It's becoming a pattern. In other news, the basement has yet to be found. The security team is now sweeping the building, opening every single door to try and locate the basement, but most doors are only leading to places they were meant to go. The situation is slowly becoming more and more dire. Oh, I've just received an email from Betty in accounting. She's letting me know that she's suddenly very, very rich. She says her Etsy shop has just exploded, and she was contacted by a company she's not allowed to name, who offered her $3.5 million for the rights to her product. How interesting. You know, this is starting to seem like one of those instances where an author accidentally predicts the future in a work of fiction, so they write something they want very much to happen, even if it seems ridiculously unlikely. This author must either be restricted somehow from making certain things happen, or else they just completely forgot that I also am here, because I have yet to receive some sort of large... Oh. Well. With that, while I do a little, counting, allow me to take you to the weather. Listeners, I've now received emails from all over the system. Every single library employee has suddenly come into large amounts of money. Most of them are now millionaires. They all came into money in different ways, some winning the lottery, some receiving some sort of inheritance, some having their side hustle pay off, and then some. When asked what they'll do with the money, answers range from I'm taking a vacation all the way up to I'm buying a house in Australia and moving there forever. Employees are talking about opening businesses, going to Mars, getting cosmetic surgeries done, all sorts of things that money tends to make you think about. And to think, today started out being so boring. Who can really judge a day by only its morning? A day should not be decided by its sunrise, just as a book cannot be summarized by its first page. We really must read the whole book and live the whole day to have solid opinions on either. Now, towards the end of today, we still have a very missing basement and a very wealthy library staff. 2 members of security have gone missing right along with the basement in their courageous search for it. Opening every single door has proven several other issues that were unseen until now. For instance, the door to the maintenance closet on the 4th floor in the break room now seems to lead directly to a 1700s-era pirate ship. This could cause an unfortunate incident if not taken care of properly. Listeners, I'm getting an update about the basement. It has been found. The missing members of staff were inside, counting large piles of cash. It seems the entire basement was completely full of variously sized cash piles. Before library administration could discuss what would happen to the money, the smiling owl swooped in, started gathering cash in his talons, and distributing it to seemingly random individuals outside the library. Anyone standing on the streets outside seems to have received variously sized amounts of cash. The owl seems to be using his ability to peer into people's minds and hearts in order to determine for himself who is getting what kinds of random cash bonus. And due to the fact that nobody is really certain exactly how powerful the smiling owl really is, I'd bet that the library powers that be are going to let him continue to do his distributing however he pleases. So I suppose, in all, today has really been a good day. As the sun begins to set over my studio, later and later every day now, I think about how different things can become in just one short day. A day is enough to change a lot. So if you're having a rough time right now, remember that all of that could change in only a day. Hold your head high, listeners, for you are not alone. It has been an honor to be your radio host for the evening. I hope you all have a positively lovely week. And as always, stay tuned.